Tacoma Exotics presents Not Another Reptile podcast.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm here with Gavin, man. It's awesome.
How's it going, everyone?
So glad, and I know it's like 1:30 in the morning there. I appreciate you coming on the show. It's terrible, right?
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me. I got a couple of hours before the podcast, and I've just woke up, so I'm raring to go.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I'm going to get through these shout outs real quick because I know everybody's been so looking forward to you coming onto the show.
I appreciate the support.
Honestly, you know, I've asked a lot of my friends in the industry, what questions would you ask Gavin? And everything is about the Bang project.
There's with me, there's nothing you can't ask. You know, whether it's going to be controversial, exciting. You know, there's nothing we can't talk about. So whatever you guys want to talk about, I'm down.
Awesome, man. Hey, Kevin. Hey, David. Glad y'all showed up. And of course, Stan, the man. I don't know if you know Stan from Sea of Serpents.
Yeah, do you know what? It's crazy because I've met loads of people. Obviously, when I come over to the States, whether I've been in Canada, America, Europe, I meet so many people, and you know, there's lots I know by face or by their logo, but yeah, I've met so many of you guys. It's amazing.
Right. Well, so I did a special episode here a few weeks back with his wife. She is battling stage 4 breast cancer, and yeah, they had some really bad news today. So if you don't mind, I want to play this clip real quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm trying to support them in every way I can.
Yeah, 100%.
If you guys could find it in your heart to donate, it would very much be appreciated. Like I said, they found out some not so good news today, and I couldn't imagine all that. So
yeah,
anything we can do to help, man. Stan, we're here. Tiff, we're here. We love you guys.
Yeah,
keep fighting the good fight, ma'am. Keep fighting the good fight.
100%, man.
Hey, Brotherhood, this is Mark. He is actually in our Saturday show. He's a good guy. And of course, Sammy everybody knows Sammy. You have to know Sammy. Balls.
Yeah.
Bull pythons. Let's see here. Let me get my old lady glasses out. Carissa, how's it going, honey? Hope everything's good your way. Kevin. Always good, Kevin. Kevin's a good guy. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Just trying to go through pretty quick. Hey, Jen, how's it going? And Bobby, this is my, no. Here we go. Sorry. This is my husband, Bobby. He'll have a couple questions for you today as well. He's very excited for me to come on with you. So
no.
At Tinley, I was like, I don't know if I should walk up to him because, you know, everybody's like, hey, he's 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide, right? He's this big muscle guy. and honestly, I wasn't even supposed to be in Tinley. I actually got blessed by a really good friend, and he paid for my airline ticket to go.
Yeah, I remember you saying. That's amazing. Absolutely
Yes.
awesome.
So when I seen you, I was starstruck. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk up to this big muscle guy and just be like, hey, do my shot, right? And your wife was there too. And I loved
Yeah.
your she is at what is her name again?
Mel from Mel's Morphs.
Okay. She is absolutely gorgeous. And I was just like, I've got to try to talk to them. And I was so nervous. And I'm so glad because you were one of the nicest people there. Like
Yeah,
down
thank you.
to earth, you really opened up. You're like, hey, yeah, heck yeah. And I talked to you a couple different times. And I just wanted you to know I really appreciated you talking to me as a new breeder. It's hard for us to put ourselves out there. And
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reception that I always get when I come over to America or Canada, it's amazing. It's absolutely awesome. And I always say to people, like especially from the UK, like I brought some of the Patreons over, for them to experience what you guys have over there is different to what we have over here. And obviously, the love and support that I get from you guys over there is amazing. So the least I can do is just stop, talk, chat, discuss stuff. I'm always happy, to spend time with you guys. So this is the least I can do for all your support. So thank you.
that's awesome, man. And like I was saying, all the questions have pretty much revolved around the
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 bang stuff.
bang. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, my co-host has been caught up with work a lot here lately, so
Yeah.
I had to leave the show. That's a big announcement. I know he was wanting to make. I was wanting him to make, but it hadn't happened yet. But I do want to touch on that quite a bit because that's pretty much what you're known for at this point. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many projects that I've got a passion for. Everything that I work with is something that I want to work with. A lot of people say to me, Gav, what should I start? And what morph should I buy? What gene should I get into? And I always say to them, what do you like? What do you want to work with? What
Yes.
takes your eye? Some people love Exantic, some people love clowns, some people love pied, some people love ultramel. So it really is an individual thing. And the good thing with what we do with the ball pythons is there's something for everyone. So there's a lot of projects I work with. I noticed someone had mentioned the migraine project. Obviously, the bang stuff. I'm a massive advocate for the bang stuff. Ozzy's like my big brother, And when I first saw the bang, when it came to my attention, I was like, Oz, this isn't Orange Dream, because I'm a massive, massive Orange Dream fan. And he was like, Gav, it's not Orange Dream. And I said, I know, Oz. And Ozzy actually helped me import them. And Ozzy was the first person to see them before I did, So it was amazing that, my big brother, let's say, can help me get into a project which is just going from strength to strength. And there's quite a few guys in the US, one breeder in particular, who's taken over much of the project. And he sent me yesterday, a picture of the Super Bang clown, and it's mind blowing.
Yes, absolutely. Both of you guys work with such good genes and stuff. And today, we have to do our homework before these podcasts. And watching one of yours, I actually found out about the different lines of leopard.
Yeah. So
And
that's
the
something that
stripe.
a lot of people,
Yeah, and that blew my mind. I was like, I've noticed differences in it, but I've never heard anybody truly say it until you said it.
Yeah, I mean, there's So here's the thing. Like on my wall in my HQ, where when people come into the lobby area before we go into the breeding room, I've got a map of Africa up on the wall, and I've dotted out the area where the ball pythons are actually found, and I've circled the different locations where they're actually exported from. So when you look at the area where their range, we'd be stupid to think that there wasn't any locality. You know, we have locality in Madagascar. You know,
Yes.
you can be one side of the river in Madagascar and the other side of the river, and you can have a difference, the same species of frog, but different locality. And, you know, we'd be stupid to think that we don't have locality within our species. And this is what we see. You know, some people have an enchi that look one particular way, and other people have an enchi that look another way. There was just a lot of controversy on Facebook, as always, where, you know, some people were selling leopards and other people were saying, oh, it's not leopard. This is a different, it's not leopard, it's not leopard. So the people in question called it the carnivore. They called it a different name. And I think that was kind of probably the right way to go, because genetically it may have the same makeup, as in the same genetics. It just expresses itself in a different manner. So I originally got my carnivore looking animal from Aussie in a form of a leopard clown, and it started making weird stuff. And that's basically how I came across that there was two different types of leopard, as in, you know, the way it expresses. So there's a lot we forget, that we have locality, and we also have like a trait. We have traits like a polygenic trait, similar to
Right.
what we've seen with DG with the shed testing stuff. We have polygenic traits as well. So you could breed a leopard to a normal, and then in the clutch you can go, oh, that's a leopard, that's a leopard, and then you'll find one animal which will look very leopard like, and that leopard we used to call back in the day a leopard sibling from Ralph Davis, for those who remember Ralph Davis. So yeah, there's a lot we kind of brush over because we're too busy looking at the morph and its mutation as opposed to the other bits and pieces, you know.
Right, absolutely. That's really interesting. And I've always said too, with talking to some other breeder friends, that there's a percentage of genetics that go into this snake, whether it's leopard, orange dream, no matter what it is, just like humans, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that also affects the way they look.
Yeah,
So,
100%, because we can have an expression which can be a high expression or a low expression. So you can have I don't, a pied, for example, that's a high expression pied, so it's a high white, and you can
mhm,
have, you know, a pied which is low white, and I'm not saying it's low in
right,
quality. It's
right.
just a low expression of pied. But the good thing about that, you get to see all the pied pattern. So
Yes,
there's
sir.
good and bad with everything. And back in the day, if you had a low white pied, it would be pennies compared to a high white pied, because everyone would want the high white pied, you know, and
Right.
that'd be more expensive. So yeah, we've got different expressions and different levels of expressions, and that's something we've got to take into consideration when we're making these combos.
Absolutely. David said that it helped him out a lot with his collection. That's awesome. And you know, the more I research every day, you know, I try to reach out, or I try to watch at least 3 videos a day of different snake breeders and
Yeah.
opinions and stuff. And it's hard to find somebody you're like, okay, I trust this person and what they're saying, right? But you are absolutely one of the trusted few.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, you know, there's so many things out there within the ball python stuff. There's so many things to learn. There's so many, you know, we've got genetics, we've got breeding. You know, here's another thing: compatibility.
Absolutely.
Compatibility we have within our species, but we're too, again, we just think, ah, ball pythons are stupid. I'll pair this male with that female and they're going to breed, you know, and unless the compatibility's there, you may not ever get them to breed, you know. There is so much to learn, but I wouldn't do anything else.
Right. Yep. We have a lot of people just talking, here about how they love your research and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably one of the first people to start talking about ASFs, African soft furred rats. And it all started when people, back in the day, pastels, Mojaves, spiders, they were so expensive. And reality, I couldn't really afford some of these mutations because they were so expensive. But then what was happening in the forums, people were selling animals and saying that these animals were poor feeders or picky feeders, and that was on ASFs. Well, fortunately, myself and a couple of my friends, we were breeding ASFs. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take these animals at a reduced price, obviously, and start working with them. And I looked at these animals and they were a little bit underweight because obviously the breeders couldn't get hold of ASFs.
Mhm.
So the minute I started to feed them on a regular basis, these animals started to pop. Color, quality of muscle tone, their body, their condition, the eggs they were laying was better than the rat feeders or the Norwegian rat feeders or the mice feeders. And I thought, you know what? There's something in this. So I swapped all my collection over onto ASF. And it got to the point where all my breeders just seemed to flourish. The hatchlings that I was holding back were growing better, not quicker, better.
Right.
And the colors were popping. I did an experiment with my friend. I hatched 2 pastels. At the time, pastels were a big deal. I gave one of them to him. I had one. He was feeding rats. I was feeding ASFs. We did a 12-month thing where we looked at both. I went actually over to his house. I took my animal over, and mine was significantly better. Yes, it was bigger, but it was brighter. The muscle tone was better. You could hold the snake, and it seemed to be more solid as opposed to the rat feeder. So I knew straight away there was something in this. So of course I started speaking out about ASFs.
Right.
Next minute, fast forward 10, 15 years, and we've got some of the biggest breeders in the world feeding ASFs. So, and I'm not saying that, look, I'm not saying everyone swap onto ASFs, but after doing all my research and realizing, well, hang on a minute, this ASF is lab produced. There's 5 to 6 species of African soft furred rat in Africa, and
Right.
they've kind of made one animal for the lab purposes. But this animal is closer to their natural diet than it is anything else. So there we have it. A lot of people now see ASFs as steak for your snakes.
Exactly. And
So it's good.
as a matter of fact, today we got in our Freedom Breeder rack for ASFs. We're going straight ASF. And they're actually in our garage, our rats and stuff are. And we only have 2 trays or 2 tubs of ASF. But yeah, we are absolutely switching over, not just for the simple fact that they're so much better for our snakes, but for the smell.
Yeah, I
Because,
mean,
they're not as near as bad, right?
yeah, 100%. And a lot of people, here's the thing, a lot of people go, yeah, but they take ages to grow. Well, the best of it is our species that we work with prefer smaller meals more regular. So, like Safdie is saying, Dave Kaufman, great friend of mine, love Dave. I give him a bit of hard time. But when he did that documentary about Africa, a lot of it was fantastic to see. I even said to him, I expected him to spend like 6 months in the bush rough, not doing his hair, not having his sunglasses on,
Right.
and actually researching this stuff. But the way it genuinely works, I've got a very good friends in Africa and in South Africa as well. And the way it works is what will happen is a female will occupy a rodent burrow, okay, or a burrow where the rodents are. And they will share the burrow with the rodents. And the reason for this is when they're about to either lay eggs or copulate during the breeding season, they're not going to eat their prey because they're not going to have any food. The female's going to want to stay in that burrow because it's safe and her babies can hatch and they can come out and grow. Now, they can't grow without prey. So what happens is they'll share the burrow with the rodents and they'll use the burrow as almost like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Yeah. So what they'll do is they will slowly eat some of the rodents, but allow them to occupy and breed and fill the burrow with prey ready for when their hatchlings hatch. So then the hatchlings will go through the burrow, picking the rodents, and that's why you'll find ASFs won't attack a ball python. Like you can leave a live ASF in a tub for a couple of days, maybe even 3 or 4 days before they will start to attack the ball python. A rat, a normal rat, you leave it in there a couple of hours, 4 hours, it will start to attack the snake. Whereas ASFs, they won't, because they will occupy the same area. And you'll find sometimes, if you're feeding your hatchlings, you'll find a hopper. He's cuddling up next to a hatchling, so that's how they do it. The species prefer smaller prey because it's better for them, their digestive system, their health, all that sort of stuff. So all my breeder females get fed 40 to 50 gram ASFs through the breeding season, and I switch it up. They'll get fed every 5 days during the breeding season, and then if they don't take it, then that's okay. If I give them an ex-breeder, which is about 120, 130 gram ASF, they'll eat it, but then they'll go off food for the next couple of weeks because it's very rich for them. My hatchlings get fed every 5 days, even the hatchlings that I'm selling. And then once they get to a particular size, I then switch them onto 7-day feeding schedule. Again, smaller prey, but they absolutely grow fantastic.
What size would that be? Like maybe 100, 150?
So my hoppers. So when I'm feeding like the babies, obviously out the egg, then they'll get offered. So what I'll do, I'll leave them in the incubator for them to hatch, for them to come out, shed. Then I'll leave them in the incubator for probably between 7 to 10 days before I then separate them. I will then separate them into their own individual tub, and then I'll offer them something like a hopper, which is about a 15 gram ASF, because I find the hoppers, because the way they move, they trigger their natural instinct to feed, if that makes sense. So that's exactly what I do now. I've done it for the past 2 years, and I find very, very, very few. I think 334 hatchlings last year. I only had 2, which I had to assist feed. So again, learning and adjusting, and then going through that process really does make a difference. So, yeah.
That's very impressive. Hey, y'all, he is dropping some knowledge here tonight. Absolutely. So I'll get to the questions here that so I don't know if you know, but I do have a Saturday show. It's just the Reptile Lounge. I have some great guests on there. Or actually their panel, they hold a spot on the panel.
Yep.
And Chris from BNS, what are your overall expectations for the project, talking about the Bang project?
Yeah. So for me, the Bang project, from what I've made and what I've seen,
Mhm.
The Bang project for me is just, I'm so excited for what's going to come, because from what I've seen, there is no stopping this project. And what I mean
Right.
by that is like, um, I'll give you an idea. So the Super Bang Clown, which is produced by Infinite Possibility Pythons.
Mhm.
I'd love to show it, but basically, if you take a fire yellow belly Super OD clown, that's what it looks like, and that's
Wow.
just a Super Bang clown. Now, for me, that just blows my mind, because we haven't even added yellow belly fire into the mix. I made a red stripe bang clown, and it blew my mind.
Right.
Absolutely blew my mind. So uh, the bang pieds look like super bang pieds. It's just on another level. You know, we've got stuff out there like Mandarin,
Yes.
and no disrespect to Mandarin, but it's very difficult to see. And then you got stuff like the Bang, which is so in your face. I think to myself, man, like guys, you really need to just take time to work with it, because there is so much that hasn't been done, that I'm so excited for the future. You know, so yeah, if you want to invest in a quality animal, or even you know, get involved in a quality project that
Mhm.
you're not going to mistake, because I've seen some people selling like Mandarin clowns which aren't Mandarin clowns. I've seen people selling lace clowns which aren't lace clowns. You know, and
Yes.
these people are spending big money, and I'm like, guys, you know, there's other projects you can get into, which, as whether you're a newbie or an experienced breeder, is going to be night and day, and you'll be able to tell it apart from everything. So yeah,
Right.
just excited for that.
So Chris's next question was, what specific aspects of the project are you most excited about at this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's not. I've got bang clown stuff. I've got a potential female who could be posset pied. Um, I'm just excited to see. I'm excited to get it into Exantic, into Hypo, into um, Ultramel, you know, and then obviously cross them over like a clown Ultramel pied along with a super bang, you know. So there is so much to do with it, and I feel like I'm Aussie starting off on the Orange Dream journey.
Yeah.
You know, it's just nuts. And Ozzy was over here, and he blessed us and come over, and he saw the bang stuff that I produced, and he was like, Gav, bro, these are not Orange Dream. And you hear people say, oh, it's Orange Dream, it's Orange Dream, but it's not. I mean, it doesn't express itself in the same way. It's a different pattern. It's certainly a different color. It does different things. You know, so yeah, there's just too much, too much.
And that's what makes me so excited about the shed testing. You know, whenever that comes about, it's going to be great because you're going to be like, hey, looky here, you know?
Yeah. I'm currently working with a guy over in Europe who a shed tester, pro herper. Shout out to Jurgen. And I'm currently going over there in December and taking him some bang sheds for us to shed test. Now, how do I feel about shed testing? Shed testing is a fantastic, wonderful thing. I've always spoken out about the difference between lesser and butter, for example. Lesser and butter I see a visual difference. You can have a lesser, which looks more yellow and green, and you can have a butter, which looks a bit more yellow and brown, you know, and then when you add a different gene, it can create a different looking animal. So even though obviously RGI have said, you know, lesser and butter genetically on the makeup side of things are the same thing, one thing that's not being spoken about is that it can express in a different visual. It can visually look different. So
Right.
it's a bit like you and your sibling, you know, your brother or your sister. You can share the same DNA, but you can look different from your brother and different from your sister.
Right.
So I'm still convinced that Orange Dream and Bang are completely separate and different. And from what I've seen as well, the way it's working with certain combos, certain other genes, the way it's reacting is certainly different as well. So I'm not worried at all. And even if it does come back the same, you know, not knocking Orange Dream, but what would you rather work with? Would you rather work with this Orange Dream, this high
Right.
OD, or this Bang? You know, so even if he comes back as Orange Dream, expressively, it's going to look it looks different. So it's down to you what you work with. You know.
So did you guys ever figure out if it was leucistic or not?
So it was bred to a super orange dream, and it produced a bang, a dream bang, as it was called, and that was a male that was bred. It produced a normal in the clutch, so it's not allelic to orange dream, so we know that much. And obviously, it can't be the same thing because it produced a normal in the clutch.
Right.
So if it was a super, and there is a picture of a super orange dream, sorry, a super bang and the dream bang next to each other, and you can see they're visually different. You can, so because it's created a normal, we know it's not allelic, and we also know it's not a version of a super, you know. But what excites me about that is now I can do a super bang, super orange dream combo,
Mm.
you know, so we can stack them. So
Right.
it's all good.
Are there any particular genes or combinations that you're aiming to integrate?
Into the Bang project, I presume, or
Yes.
yeah. So everything,
Every,
everything, everything that we've seen. Ozzy did a fantastic job of the Orange Dream and the high OD gene, which I do believe is a mutated version of Orange Dream. It's a different pattern and a different color
I have.
gene,
Yep.
and everything we've seen with what Ozzy's done, I want to do it again, but with Orange Dream. And it's crazy because, you know, when I first got my animals from from Ozzy with some of the Orange Dream stuff, you know, I was blown away with what Ozzy was doing. So I get to relive that feeling again, but with the Bang stuff. So
That's awesome.
Spectre, you know, if you want me to give you guys a bit of a gene that's very underrated in a lot of combos, Spectre is so underrated and affordable. It's crazy.
Oh, there you go. There's another one, guys.
Yeah.
There's another one. Which top three recessives do you think will make most significant difference in the bank?
So, where do I start? So, there's a good friend of mine who's doing tri-stripe bang stuff,
Ooh, wow.
and he's recently got into the bang. And so, I think tri-stripe is going to be one that's going to blow people's mind with the bang, because obviously we can do super bang tri-stripes. I think Orange Dream works well in a lot of combos, in a lot of recessives, but Bang just takes it up another level. So anything like Pied, like the single gene, the single Bang Pied
Mm.
looks phenomenal. So we can do that. We can do Hypo. Obviously, Mark Mendek from Marcus Jane, he did the Super OD Hypo Pied, which was neon. I'll give that to Mark. And again, we can do that, you know. So recessive wise, I'm an ultra male fan. I love Monarch. I think Monarch's a fantastic gene, but I was born and bred on ultra male. So ultra male, hypo, and we'll throw another one in there which is a little bit different. We'll go exantic. So yeah.
See, that's what I'm really super excited about seeing is the exanthic in that.
Yeah, I've currently got some MJ lightning pied stuff, and I'm in two minds. I've got a super bang female. She's posset pied. So I'm in two minds whether to breed the clown pied, the ultramal pied, or the MJ exantic pied, the lightning pied. So yeah, I'm like, which one do you do? You know, which one do you do?
You do
So,
which one ever makes the most money.
yeah, I mean, do you know what? That's the crazy thing, because everything that I do is such. I love any way we could take that, you know, because any way could take it to another level and boost the project, but also excites me. So I just wish I had more bang females that I could do everything, you know.
Absolutely, man. What have you learned from your experiences working with the gene so far?
It's very powerful, like what it did to the leopard gene. So if you go back and look at a few videos, I produced some super bangs.
Mhm.
And at the time, I knew they wasn't regular bangs, and the pairing was a bang het clown to a bang het clown. And obviously, I was going for the super bang clown.
Right.
But I'd also threw in a young male, which was a leopard bang clown. Now, that leopard gene was from the banded line. So it was the carnivore line of leopard. I didn't see a lock. I didn't think nothing of it. Hatched these two amazing super bangs, and I looked at them. They're definitely super bangs, but the super bang breeder female I've got looks different, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I wasn't sure if it was a friend who said to me, or then I had a sudden, moment, and I went, "Do you know what? I bred that leopard bang clown to that female. I'm wondering if it's a dual sire clutch." And sure enough, when I looked at the babies, I could see leopard. It was like, I see it. So those are obviously 100% het clown. They're both females. I kept them back. Obviously super bangs. And then definitely not the leopard bang, because I'd already produced the leopard bangs the previous year, so I knew exactly what they looked like. So by process of elimination, I was able to determine, yes, they're super bang, yes, they're leopard, and that's what we've got. So that was the thing that I've learned, that it's very powerful in how it expresses itself. So which isn't a bad thing. With pastel, it's not as in your face, which isn't a bad thing. Imagine pastels, but instead of them looking like super pastels, they look more amped up in color. So the yellows are more yellow, the blacks are more black. I've not put it into pastel, but from the pastel bangs that I've seen, it sort of amplifies that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the future of it. I'm curious to find out what the ethers and the allelic reaction. It could be something stupid, like it could be allelic to Cyprus, right? I'm not saying it is, because it isn't, because the Cyprus bang looks phenomenal. But what I'm saying is, you got Enchi that's allelic with black pastel or cinnamon. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought spot nose and chocolate, or spot nose and Wookie, was going to be allelic? So the chances are that the bang will be. I'm kind of waiting for someone to go, "Hey, I've bred a bang to this animal, to this gene, and it looks like it's allelic, and it's going to be something we don't even know." I mean, it could be allelic to spot nose. It could be on that, on that allele that it falls with the same as Wookie, as Chocolate, as Spot Nose. We just don't know. I've got some bang spot noses that obviously.
I was going to say you have those already.
Yeah. I've got them, so we'll grow them up. We'll breed them together, and we'll see what pops out. So, who knows? So yeah, it's a long road, but it's exciting.
And how long have you been in this project?
So I've now been in this project probably the last 3 years. I want to say 3 years. There's a good friend of mine, Luke Mills from Mills Pythons. Luke actually spotted the bang and said, "Hey Gav, look at this." And he was like, "This is an orange dream, definitely not orange dream." And I was like, "Dude, it's not orange dream." And that's when I got in touch with Sterling Nelson from the States. And I said, "What have you got?" He said, "I've got 5 animals." I said, "I'll take them." He was like, "Which one?" I said, "No, I'll take all 5, you know. Just I'll take all 5." That's how confident I was at spotting it. And once Luke had showed me, and I phoned Luke back because we were only originally going to get one between us. And I said, "Luke, I've kind of done a thing." And he was like, "What you done?" And I said, "I've got us to the bang." He was like, "Oh yeah, great." And then he said, "What else have you done?" I said, "I haven't just brought one." He said, "Oh, you brought 2. That's a good idea. You know, 1 each. Great idea." I said, "No, I ain't brought." He said, "You brought 3." I said, "Yeah, I brought 5." He was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." So, you know, Luke, great guy. We didn't, obviously, because I went out on a limb and brought all 5. Obviously, I took most of the bill. But Luke's working with the bang as well into the lavender stuff, which I think is going to be epic as well. So yeah,
Right. That's
yeah.
awesome. So David wants to know if you could touch on the you know, I've seen this around in different chats and podcasts, the whole sex determination and the temperatures. Do you see anything like that?
Yeah, so this is my 7th season working at a slightly higher temperature range. And I was on the phone to Mike Wilbanks last year and I was talking to him about his incubators. And I was just genuinely chatting to him and I said about the sex determination thing. And he paused on the phone and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's a sex link thing that I'm noticing." And the phone just went quiet. And I said, "Mike?" And he went, "Yeah, I'm still here." I said, "I bet you think I'm smoking like crack or something, don't you?" And he was like, "Well, no. He's, you know, Mike's done a lot of stuff. And I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people. So I incubate between 90 and 91 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's not about hatching the babies sooner. What I noticed is I started to get 70%, 75% of my whole production for that year was female. Prior to that, I was running standard 89. It was 50-50. And I noticed, I heard about it from a guy actually in the States. And he said, "Oh, yeah, there's a few breeders over here running at 90 degrees, not 90, 91 degrees, and they're getting 100% females." I was like, "What? Really?" So I tried it. And it didn't work the way I expected it to. I expected, you know, every baby, every clutch to come out female.
Right.
What was happening was I was actually getting 75% of the whole year to be more female than male. So you can still hatch a clutch, which is predominantly, you know, all males. Yeah.
Right.
But then you'll hatch other clutches, which will be all females, or 75% of the clutch will be females. And over the year, you'll have more females than males.
That's
Yeah. So the female ratio over the whole year tends to be higher. Now, could that be something else, i.e., the way I keep my females? It could be because my hotspot for my females are 88 degrees. And I tend to find the females, there's 3 temperatures they like. They like 82, they like 86, and they like 88.
Okay.
And they like 82 when they're trying to gain water, trying to build. So they're at the front of the tub or around the water bowl. If you shoot them with a temp gun, they're about 82. Then 86 is where they like to be, average over the year. And then obviously 88 is when they're about to lay their clutch, and they're going to drop their clutch in that particular spot. So that's what they like. So the temperatures I find in the incubator, they may hatch 1 or 2 days before. And a lot of people used to talk about the head wobble on a spider. You know, if you incubate at a lower temperature, it stops the head wobble or it reduces it.
Oh, wow.
I never found that to be accurate.
Mhm.
I just found it to be more of a fluke. Yeah.
Right.
So for me, when we look at, like, for example, the temperatures in the incubator, I run 90 to 91 in the incubator, not in the egg box, because in the egg box, it'll be cooler. Yeah. So when you incubate in your incubator, it's the temperature inside the incubator, which is going to be around about that sort of temperature. And then the egg box is going to be cooler. So if you imagine you're incubating at 89 in the incubator, in the egg box, it's going to be even cooler. It's going to be probably 87. So by raising the humidity, by raising the temperature, it raises the humidity in the egg box and also the temperature within the egg box, which I'm just seeing this thing. I'm not saying it's sex related, but what I do know is a few breeders have 2 incubators due to what I've spoken about, and they have found that from the one incubator they're getting more females, and from the other incubator they're getting almost a 50-50 mix.
That's pretty impressive, man. Very impressive. Absolutely. I am going to run my sponsor video because I haven't yet. So give you a little break. I want to thank all my sponsors. They've been so patient with me because I'm actually working with Warful Morphs to get some stuff done, some commercials, and we're both just so busy all the time. And when we do have a chance to get together, it's just like we're tired.
Yeah.
So I bet you know how that goes, huh?
Yeah. I'm a massive. So here's the thing as well. If you can manage time, as in manage your time during the day, you will be more productive and you'll get so much more done. But it's very easy to lose track of time.
Yes.
And sort of your day just goes, you're like, oh, I've done nothing today, I've achieved nothing. But you'll find those productive days are the days that you manage your time and you can smash stuff out and get it all done.
Right. Well, that's absolutely with doing the whole podcast thing. I know you know how hard that is.
Yeah.
And I've actually been waiting for your morning show to, ramp
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah, so it's crazy because me and Mac started the Royal Breakfast Show just as a bit of a an easygoing sort of thing. But we've been so busy either in the mornings, specifically on a Wednesday morning. But we've got what we didn't want to do was keep to a schedule and kind of have nothing to talk about, So we wanted to sort of keep it on a little bit of a, hey, we might be on this morning, on a Wednesday morning. We're always on a Wednesday morning, but we don't sort of schedule which Wednesday morning, if that makes sense. So
Right.
just to create that sort of very what's the word? Very
Sporadic, maybe.
sporadic sort of, because we don't class ourselves as a podcast. It's just more of a general chit chat, talk about what's been going on, what's potentially going on moving forward. So yeah, we're very much like that.
Well, I do miss that show, just so you know. I'm ready for you guys to get back on it.
Yeah, we'll get some more series definitely on the go, definitely.
That's awesome, man. So what else besides the Bang project? I know you said, watching one of your videos, you're like, I have found this project, I have found this project.
Yeah, so we've got some interesting stuff. So I find I've got, without being big-headed or anything like that, like I've got a good eye for picking out genes, and there's over the years, I found that I found projects, and I found it to be like reproducible. Yeah,
Right.
and there's some that I've let go. I've found that they are reproducible. I've let them go because maybe it's space, maybe time. But there's a few genes that I held back. One of them being the Saxon gene, which I've produced, and it was only really this season that kind of made me realize that there's definitely something going on. So the Saxon gene, I did a video on that. So obviously I'm looking forward to producing more Saxon stuff this season to show it off. And here's the thing. So I did that video, and there was one guy on there giving me a load of crap. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't be showing this off until you found a super and this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Look, dude, I've showed it to show the journey.
Right.
If it proves out to be something, then I'll tell you. I've got nothing to hide. People think I'm this, or not everyone, but a few people may think that we create these we rebrand morphs,
Right.
to sort of what's the word, to sort of gain more money.
Mhm.
Fact of the matter is, I produced 4 animals from that, and I let them go to close friends because I want them in the project. It's not about the money; it's about
Exactly.
getting the right people in the project.
Yep.
So the Saxon project, I'm really super excited for. And I've also got one called the Riot, which was rebranded because that was called the Thing. So those who have heard me talk about the Thing, it was just something that popped up. I've renamed it because the Thing wasn't meant to be its real name. It was just going to be something so I could identify it through my projects or through my collection. So rebranded that as the Riot. And yeah, over the years, I've got my white cider line, which is basically a calico line. The original male came in on an African import, and it came in, and I thought it was a yellow belly. Straight up, I thought it was a yellow belly. I thought it's a yellow belly, great. I haven't got a yellow belly in my collection. This was way back in the day. Bred it to my original female. She's a Vulture female. And lo and behold, calico looking animals pop out. So I was like, well, it's obviously some sort of calico. Calico and sugar expressed differently.
I think so too. And
Yeah.
I've had people say, no, they're the same thing. I'm like, to me, the sugar is more white and more digital looking, where the calico is more dirty.
Yeah, so exactly that. So the sugar will have more of a white coming up, and it'll like sort of fade whitey pink, and it's very soft tones. The calico is very noisy, so the whites will have lots of black speckling in, which will give you an indication whether it's calico or sugar. Now the problem is breeders will go, oh, that's a sugar. So then they'll breed it, they'll produce from it and sell it as a sugar. So then people who have brought the generational animals off that breeder go, oh, look at my sugar. And there we are trying to educate people saying, look, it may be sold as a sugar, but it looks and expresses more like a calico.
Right.
So yeah, the White Cider project is a calico line. I don't know if it is calico, so I can't sell it as a calico.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm kind of doing the right thing by keeping it my line of calico, if you like,
Mhm.
because it's still producing weird stuff. Like I'm going to do a video. I've produced some white cider het lavender stuff. And I think there's two different expressions of the white cider. One is very orange looking, almost like it's got yellow belly, and the other one is like a high expression, wacky, white looking animal.
Mhm.
So there's that, and there's a few other bits and pieces. Again, my Black Phantom stuff. My Black Phantom is a
Yes.
phantom. There's no if, buts, or maybes. It is a
I
phantom.
love that. The blacks in that is just amazing.
Yeah, so the Black Phantom is again just there to say to people, this is a lineage. I don't charge
Right.
anymore. It's not a money thing. It's
Mhm.
just if you start producing some crazy stuff further down the line, we can then go, well, that come from the Black Phantom line. Oh,
Mhm.
okay, so it's trackable, and that's another thing that I think we forget lineage. You know,
Right.
we forget about the lineage is so important. If I produce a baby, I can tell you the lineage. You know, I can tell you from where I brought the animal, who I brought it from, whether I made it, what was its parents, what was its grandparents. So it's
Mhm.
almost like, you know, when you buy a dog that's got a good pedigree, you know, you can
Yes.
trace the lineage.
Yep.
It's a bit like that.
That's awesome. Uh, David wants to know if you have the scrambler gene.
Yeah, I don't have the scrambler gene. I did see that. I was speaking with what's the guy's name? Chris Herman. Is it Chris Herman in the States? Sorry, Chris. But yeah, I was speaking with Chris over there. He was showing me the stuff. Obviously, it came from Mark Mendek. Very interesting. Very interesting. Again, a gene, which you know, I'm not knocking it. It's very subtle and could be easily missed.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is something going on. And again, genetic testing, get it shed tested, get a mapping for it, and
Mhm.
hopefully, moving forward, you know, it's going to be easier to ID certain things for people in the future. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite, just with anything, I can get on Morph Market and look up anything het lavender,
Yeah.
and it looks totally different. I love het lavender. I don't like the visual. I love the het. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think,
You'll be interesting to see these white ciders that are het lav.
mm,
And again, whether it's het pied, het clown, you know, het ultramel,
mm,
you certainly do get different. You know, you see the heterozygous showing through. You know.
absolutely. That's awesome, man. Well, I know it is like what 2:30 there, almost.
Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning.
Okay, well, we will cut this off. So I know you want to crawl back in bed. I really do appreciate you coming on, man, and dropping your knowledge. And I look forward to seeing everything you were producing.
Yeah,
And
no worries. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely,
Obviously, I'm more than happy to do this again. And yeah, the problem is with me, the minute I start talking about it, I could talk for hours.
hey, I
Um,
love it. I love it. It's
yeah,
hard to find somebody that can carry a really good conversation with, and I
yeah,
love talking about any projects. And I've got a project
yeah.
of my own I've got on the down low. So,
Oh, okay. We won't get into that then.
oh
Definitely
yeah,
not.
we can backstage.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Bobby's asked very quickly what are the species I keep.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of berms. Well, I've got one berm at the moment. So I love the berm ball project, which is the
Yes.
hybrid.
Yep.
I think that's got a lot of legs for me personally as a keeper. I
Mhm.
love it. I want to do it for me. I know a lot of people don't like hybrids, and that's cool. That's fine. For me, it's more of an experiment to see whether they're more ball python or whether they're more Burmese, or whether some of them are more balls or some of them are more Burmese. So that's an exciting project I want to do in the future. I know Bob Clark has done a lot on that. I've got as a family, we've got like a Soul Carter tortoise, we've got bearded dragons. I've currently got into venomous. I love venomous stuff. That's kind of like my hobby now. Infinity Possible Pythons has just jumped on. Hey, good evening, brother. We were just talking about the bang and some of the great work that you've been doing. So I appreciate your back and forth, like we've been messaging and keeping each other up to date. So
Right.
I appreciate everyone's support, and I want to thank everyone as well for jumping on and supporting your live and everything that you do, Holly. From the minute I met you in Tinley, I thought, yeah, this is a great person, and let's do some lives, definitely.
Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you are too. I mean, like I said, when I met you, I was so nervous to walk up to you and say hi. And there's a lot of people that was like, I can't believe you talked to him and got him, to talk to you. I'm like, he's just, he's a great person. He was super nice. So why wouldn't I?
I love meeting everyone and chatting and talking. And like I said,
Uh-oh. I think we lost him, y'all. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and cut this off then. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I do appreciate you very much. And have a good night. And we will see y'all Saturday.
I love you. Bye bye.